Welcome to another edition of TM3 Impact. Boy, today do I have a special guest. You're not going to believe who is in the building. I have the one and only, my daddy. Tomas Martinez Jr. is here.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, Daddy.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're at TM3 Impact. This is a special podcast where we get to interview special people.
Well, I feel special now.
You better, darn it. Now make sure you speak right into that microphone, Daddy. Make sure you speak right into that microphone. Well, listen, here's what I want to do.
Okay.
I think people need to understand, just have a little bit of a Cliff Note version of your life, how you basically were able to go from, being born in Puerto Rico to coming to this amazing, to U.S., you come into New York, and then joining the military. In a Cliff Note version, tell us your story.
Well, very interesting topic here that I should be very familiar with. However, I'm going to try to give you the short version because I can get long-winded.
Yes, yes.
8 years old, going on 9. My mother uprooted the three of us, my two brothers and I. We went to from Puerto Rico to New York in the middle of the winter. We were not very smart about that, going from 80-degree weather to below freezing. There was a snowstorm the next day, so we got to see snow right away. However, it was probably the best decision that my mother ever made in her life. It afforded us a good education. 10 years later, as it turned out, I joined the military, almost exactly 10 years later.
All right, now you fast forwarded really quick there. I like that, which is not like you. Well, hold on, there's one piece that I just learned about this story because Grandma was just here. And the one piece that I just recently learned is that she had all of you in just suits. Y'all all had suits on.
Oh, well, as I remember it, not only did we have suits on, we were dressed to a T. We were dressed in dark blue suits, white shirts, blue ties, and a black hat.
You all had hats on.
Yes,
oh my goodness.
We had our little lids on, black hats with the little feather on the side, very small. And I remember sitting on that airplane next to apparently American tourists of some kind, because we were separated. We weren't sitting together. Yeah. And they were speaking English. And as I remember it, because I didn't speak very few words actually in English, I remember hearing this sound, wash, 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 wash.
And just smiling at him?
And I was looking at him and saying yes and no, but I had no idea why I was saying that, because they did not speak English. I mean Spanish. Yeah. They did not speak Spanish. It was interesting.
That's interesting. Now, and then the other thing I learned is that literally Grandma took every dollar that she had, which was she bought the plane tickets, got you suits. She had $500. That's all she had in money. Got on a plane, came here, and she had all that money in her purse, and that was it.
That was it.
Her life savings.
Life savings. Everything.
Unbelievable.
She amounted that money by. She worked in a factory in Puerto Rico, and they used to. You know how she does the needlepoint? Mm-hmm. Well, she used to make these shoes. They were like ballet shoes, and they were made out of a elastic kind of string, and she knitted those. That was one of the things that she did. Wow. On the side, on top of working at the factory. I think it was a Remington factory. They made shavers, electric shavers in Vega Alta. Her and my aunt worked together. If you want to hear a funny story, they look so much alike, they used to cash each other's check.
No way.
So my mother would go in, cash her check, walk outside, come in the other door, go to another teller, and cash my aunt's check.
Wow.
And they couldn't barely tell them apart because they looked so much alike.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so you get here, and I asked Grandma this, and I thought it was really interesting, her response, because I said, Grandma, you came to the U.S., you get here, you have all your money in your purse. I said, weren't you scared? Do you remember what she said?
She said she was too dumb to be scared,
Or too young.
too young to be scared.
She's like, I was young. I was too young to be scared. What was I going to be scared about?
She was 28 years old, as a matter of
Yeah.
fact. So think about that.
I can't.
28 years old, don't speak English, 3 kids,
Single mom.
single mother, because when we got to New York, my father already had another family.
Yeah.
And he let us know that we were not welcome. Matter of fact, he told her that she needed to go back to Puerto Rico.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
almost earned him a black eye.
Wow. I'm surprised she didn't throat punch him right there. Wow.
It came pretty close to
Yeah.
blows, as I remember.
That's interesting. Okay, so you live through New York, you decide, okay, I'm gonna go into the military.
Okay. I gotta give you the short version.
Yeah.
So at the ripe old age of 16, even though I was a straight A student, I decided to quit school.
Okay.
My mother said, "Oh, you don't go to school, you go to work." So I found a job.
Yeah.
Not only did I find a job at 16, I remember my first full-time job was I sold shoes at Buster Brown Shoes.
Yeah.
And when I turned 18, because I was still working there, I remember I told Harvey I needed a day off. He said, "Why?" And I didn't want to lie to him, so I finally said, "Look, I've been lying to you for the last 2 years. I wasn't 18 when they hired me. I had to go get my draft card, or else I'd go to jail."
Yeah.
And he said, "I knew you weren't 18." So at 18, I got my draft card, and then the draft ended soon after I got my draft card, so I never got drafted. However, I went from that to working in a factory, and then I was driving essentially a car service car. It was supposed to be I got several tickets for picking up passengers because I wasn't supposed to.
Right. You didn't have the medallion.
I didn't have a medallion,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the police ended my taxi driving career. And
I can only imagine.
but I was still driving, and then one day I passed by a recruiting station, and I had already I lived in Puerto Rico for about a month and a half the previous year. I had already spoken to a recruiter there.
Okay.
So it was just a matter of, I got to do something. I got to get change. I need a change. So
Yeah.
I went and talked to Sergeant First Class Correa, Correa.
Yeah.
Not like the country.
Yeah.
And I took the tests for the ASVAB, and I did well. He said, however, I can't take you in because you don't have a high school diploma. So he talked me into going to New Jersey and taking the GED test.
Okay.
It cost $30. I had 35.
Wiped you out. Yeah.
So my last $30, essentially, I took the test. A week later,
Did you pass first time? GED?
first time
Yeah.
I passed.
Yeah.
He got the results because I didn't want to get the results at my house
Yeah.
because I didn't want anybody to know what was going on.
Yeah.
So he got the results. He called me. He says, I got a letter here. Do you want me to tell you the results? And I said, no. Come and get me. So he came and got me, went to his office. He said, you passed. You have a high school diploma. When do you want to leave? Tomorrow. He said, I can get you in tomorrow.
Oh my
I
goodness.
said, no. My birthday, I want to wait till a week after my birthday. And so the 14th of March, 1974, on the 13th of March, 1974, is when I let the cat out of the bag.
You finally told mama.
I told mama that I was leaving the next day. And the broomstick came flying at me.
She was not happy.
She was not happy. No, she was.
Why
not
do you
happy.
think she was so upset about you joining the military? I would imagine the military at that time.
Well,
was there a negative to?
there was a negative. The Vietnam War
Okay.
was fresh on everyone's mind. It was on television every day for the last 10 years, and since the early 60s all the way through 64, 68. Now here's 1970s, and Nixon finally talked to and was ending the war. It wasn't ending on a good note, but it was ending. And one of the big things that came out of that also was that they ended the draft.
Okay.
And it became an all-volunteer army. But in my mother's mind, I was going to war.
She couldn't separate.
She couldn't separate the two.
Yep.
And she was not happy because she thought I was going to war.
Okay.
And the only thing she knew about the army was that a lot of young kids got killed.
Yeah.
So she wasn't happy, but I went through basic training. I had to say I had a girlfriend at the time. I had to get away from her too. So I went through basic training, and that was the best decision I ever made. Because I went in with a GED and I came out with a bachelor's degree. So and a career instead of just a job.
And you got what a lot of people, nowadays it's just not possible. Is it you're getting a retirement check?
Yeah, I have a retirement check, and I'm very lucky to have medical coverage. Probably some of the best medical coverage in the world.
Yep.
With at a very low cost.
Yep.
These days, that's almost impossible to achieve.
Yeah, it's tough. So military, just a couple questions. So going through basic training, I mean, at that point, you literally went from, high school dropout, just working, kind of just bouncing around, probably causing a lot of trouble in New York.
Correct.
And then and all of a sudden now you're in boot camp for the military.
Correct.
How were you able to shift those gears and not just completely say, no, I'm not listening to any of you idiots?
Well, first of all, they kept reminding us that we volunteered. They didn't even ask us to come. So every time somebody got upset, they were like, dude, did I ask you to come here?
Yeah.
Did I make you come here? No,
Yeah.
you volunteered. So do your thing.
Act accordingly.
And of course, they used a lot of flowery words. When
They
said that.
Very politely.
Very politely said, just please go over to that corner.
Yeah, do a lot of push-ups.
One of the things that I realized was that I've always been very competitive. I love competition, so I kind of took it as a competition. Everything was a competition to me, so I wanted to be have the highest scores when it came to map reading and land navigation and physical fitness, and I wanted to show the drill sergeants that I was not a wuss, that I was gonna run, and I was gonna until I died. I was gonna. They weren't gonna send me home.
Yeah.
There's no way they were gonna send me home. I was gonna show them, and of course that I think that competitive nature of mine has helped me throughout everything that I've done. Really.
Yeah.
I really relish. Showing somebody that I can do something that they tell me I can't do. I enjoyed proving them wrong, and this was my opportunity to do that.
Was it hard? Basic training?
Oh my gosh, there was many days that I wanted to cry. I wanted to beat somebody. I wanted to run away. It wasn't easy, but I made it through, and I did the same with the other schools that I went through. I went through primary leadership school and non-commissioned officer education, which is the advanced medical laboratory, the basic medical laboratory courses that I took, and all of them, I kind of did the same thing. I was competing against all these other guys. and prove myself.
That's cool. So you get to a point where you're ready to transition out of the military, and what was that transition like? You know, it's time. I'm gonna retire. What was that transition like?
Well, first I have to say that I loved being a soldier.
Yeah.
I really did. I enjoyed my 20 years of being a soldier, and especially once I got to the leadership positions, I really enjoyed developing the people that were going to take over for me. Because one of the things that I noticed is in the military, there were some people that thought they were going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And they didn't want anyone to take over their job or to excel.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, for some reason, I took the position that I wasn't going to be there forever.
Yeah.
Somebody had to take over my position because I was not going to be there forever.
Right.
And I enjoyed training my soldiers to take my position. It's kind of like when I taught you how to play tennis.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that eventually you were going to beat me. And the day that you beat me, I didn't see it as a bad thing. I saw it as a good thing. I saw it as, okay,
You did your job.
I did my job.
Yep.
He's better than me.
Yeah.
And for that same way, that's the same way that I saw my training soldiers.
Yeah.
In 1994, I saw an opportunity. I saw that Kim at the time was in a stable position. She was in a senior non-commissioned officer position at Fort Sam, and her job was very stable at the time. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to transition from the military. Truthfully, I was getting to the point to where I was not enjoying myself as much as I thought I would. It seemed like sometimes, no matter how high I got, there were still some people that wanted to treat me as if I was a private. So I decided it was time to go.
Yeah.
I was 1 or 2 semesters short of my bachelor's degree. And I had this great idea to become a trainer, a fitness trainer.
Yeah.
I wanted to be.
Well, you were doing that in the military. Your last stint was a master fitness trainer, correct?
My last assignment was I was a laboratory NCO, but then they gave me a special assignment as the fitness trainer for the hospital.
Okay.
And so in that position, I was able to train one-on-one and in groups people to excel or to meet their basic standards of physical fitness and weight.
Right.
That was probably the most enjoyable job of all the jobs I had. I loved it.
I remember you were training people at the house. I remember that.
That was when I started my fitness training, personal training at the house. That was exactly right. And it was interesting that...
Do you remember what you charged per hour?
Yes,
I'm curious.
It was $45 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, what was it? I mean, that was 20 years
1994.
ago?
23.
Yeah.
24, yeah.
And you had all the certifications. I remember that, didn't you?
I got my certification as a certified personal trainer. I was a certified aerobics trainer. I was a certified group and personal trainer.
Right. Y'all did hear that, right? He said aerobics. And listen,
aerobics.
I'm gonna have in this video. I'm gonna have a picture of my dad in his
in my aerobic
your leotard. Because, boy, that's a picture right there. Let me tell you. Yes, keep going. I'm sorry.
I was very proud.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any moose knuckles.
No, good gosh. Oh, my goodness.
But anyway.
Yeah.
I
that was for my sister. That was especially for Keisha.
Especially for Keisha Martinez. Thank you for that visual. So the company name that I chose was called Buffed Body Enterprise.
Oh my goodness.
So needless to say, I used to get a lot of calls from college, car polish companies.
Oh yeah.
Said, we have a
it's
new product
so
we'd like you to
funny.
try. And I'm like, what kind of product is it?
Yeah.
He said, well, it'll bring out the shine in any car. Like, I don't do cars.
Yeah.
I buff bodies, human
Yes.
bodies.
Human bodies. That's funny. Yeah. How long did you do that for?
I did that for 3 years.
Yeah.
3.5 years, basically. 94 to 97.
And during that time, that's when you were going back to school.
I went back to school.
Yeah.
I finished my bachelor's, and I graduated.
And what year was it that you graduated?
95.
Okay. So
No, actually, no. It was the same year that you graduated from high school.
yeah,
We both. No. I'm sorry. 95. The following year.
it's the following year, right?
Yeah, because we were both going to Wayland Baptist at the same time.
That's right. So I remember going to your graduation, which is, and I had just recently shared this, and I remember sitting there, and it was somewhere off of, it was off 281, if I remember correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a church or something like that?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, and I remember sitting there, and I'm watching. I mean, it's, as a, here I am. I'm a college student, and I'm watching my dad graduate, and I remember sitting there going like, now I have to get my degree, right? Like there is no way that I cannot do it.
Believe it or not, that was one of my reasons for doing it. Now, I'm the first person in my immediate family that graduated from college.
Yep.
I mean, we had people graduate from high school and all those things, but in my immediate family, and even when you take into account my uncles and aunts, I was one of the first to get a full bachelor's degree. So that was, not only that, I think I kind of owed that to my mother, and I owed that to you and Keisha. Mm-hmm. I wanted to set a standard, and I wanted to prove to my mother that she was right. One of the saddest moments that I can remember in my life when I think back is when I told her that I quit high school. She was very, very hurt and upset because she wanted to go to school and was unable. And so she saw me as, her avatar that was going to accomplish all the things that she didn't.
Yeah.
And so now my graduation from college was like a gift to her, to show her, look, you were right all along. I probably should have done this 20 years ago, but here I am,
Yeah, I did it.
I did it, and I had to give her credit for it, because in the back of my mind, I was wanting to please her as well.
Yeah.
And wanted to set the bar for you and Keisha.
Yep.
So I guess
it
worked.
It worked. Because I just remember there sitting there like, he's not gonna steal the glory. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna get this degree. Now you went on to also get a master's.
I'm thinking 1 semester short of a master's.
1 semester short.
1 semester short of a master's.
Because you had to do that for the
certification.
Yeah, right? I remember that.
So after in 97. I stopped. I used to work. I was doing the personal training, going to school, and I worked part-time at hospital.
After retiring.
After retiring. Then once I got my degree, then I just worked part-time, and I did my fitness training at home. And not only did I go do it at home, I used to go to people's houses too. With my little red truck, remember?
Oh, I remember
that
Ford
truck.
With no AC.
It had AC eventually.
Yeah, you had to put it in there.
I put it in there eventually. But then we went to Hawaii, and I stopped doing personal training. Then I worked for the drug testing laboratory there.
Okay.
When we came back from Hawaii, Kim's sister offered me an opportunity to be a disability management specialist.
Okay.
Certified disability management specialist. But for that, I needed master's level courses.
Got it.
To get so that I could sit for that certification.
That test, because there was a test.
It's
Yeah.
I think from what I remember, it was uh, I can't remember if it was 4 hours that we had to do that test, but it was a very long,
Yeah.
very tedious test. And I walked out of there thinking, I just blew
Yeah.
$375.
Yeah.
But I actually passed.
Yeah.
But before, like I said, before I sat for it, I had to take master's level courses.
Right.
So I'm like one semester short of a master's degree.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, going from the 8-year-old getting on a plane in Puerto Rico and seeing, I mean, obviously where your life has led to now. And could you ever imagined getting on that plane and envision the life that you've been able to live?
I had no idea. I wish I could say that I planned it all out,
Yeah.
but I didn't plan it. Some of it was a little dumb luck.
Mm.
Some of it was being at the right place at the right time. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
But when I look back from my humble beginnings to now, I have to just praise God and I'm a very long way from that 8-year-old
Yeah.
that living in a one room basically. When we lived in Puerto Rico, we
Yeah.
had it was a bedroom with a little living room and a porch and
Yeah.
a little kitchen, and that was the size of our house. Our house that I was born and grew up in probably fit in my garage
Oh, your house currently.
of the house that I
Wow.
have now. That's how small it was.
Wow.
And so I'm very humbled every day when I get to my house. I just sometimes want to drop to my knees and just say, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, God is good.
God is good. And
That's awesome. And so now here you are, you're doing that career that you were doing up in Minnesota. You're doing that in San Antonio.
correct.
Right? And it's case management.
Case management.
Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Case management is I work with people that are injured at work.
Okay.
So it's all during workers' comp type work.
Okay.
And I essentially help or assist that person into obtaining the medical treatment required to get them to the level of as good as they can get. And it may
Okay.
be 100%, or it may be 50%, it may be 75%.
Depending on the injury.
Depending on how bad the injury is, right?
Okay.
The person may not. And once that person has reached what is called their maximum medical improvement, it's determined whether or not they go back to their original job, a new job, or a modified job,
Okay.
depending on their injury.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most interesting and enjoyable jobs that I've ever done, because I've gone into a hospital and seen a person in bed with multiple injuries, and they think that their life is done. And I'm there to explain to them, no, your life is not done. I've seen worse. And I'm like their cheerleader saying, look, you can do this.
Yeah.
You've got these attributes, youth and resources, and we're going to get you better. We're going to get you better. And then seeing that person go from a wheelchair to a walker to crutches to a cane, and then finally actually running or walking on their own, or running and
Right.
going back to, whatever position that they held at the time before their injury. That's the most. That's
That's
a great
cool.
feeling.
That's cool.
That is a great feeling, and very fulfilling.
Do you? I know we've talked about this, and you have patients who the ones that recover really well, and then the ones who don't, right?
Very interesting.
Right. So what what
What's
you've
the
seen?
difference?
What's the difference? What are the difference between those who recover and those who just stay in pain and don't recover?
Attitude.
Attitude. Yeah.
Attitude and the fight, the fight in that person. But I used to have a leader, sergeant major, that used to walk around and he'd say this: your attitude reflects your altitude. Your attitude reflects your altitude. Somebody with a bad attitude, someone that is a woe is me kind of person, can allow a finger injury to stop them in their tracks, to put them into depression and stop their whole career. At the same time, a person with the right attitude, the positive attitude that says, I'm going to work my way out of this. This is not going to get me down. And with that positive attitude, can go from the wheelchair to the walker, and patiently go to crutches, cane, and run eventually.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's all reflected on their attitude and whether or not they believe in themselves, or they believe that, they believe in themselves, basically.
Yeah. And I would imagine for a lot of these people, that belief, they probably had that before the injury. They probably had this attitude prior to.
It's optimism.
More optimistic mindset.
Optimism or pessimism. And I think those two words can make or break you, those labels, because they're labels. They're just labels. They're labels that describe a person's attitude, basically. An optimistic person, they trip and they say, well, I didn't break anything, so here I go.
Right.
A pessimistic person, they trip and they want to curse the rock, and the person who put the rock there, and the rock that was there before it.
Right.
And
why didn't their friends tell them there was a rock there?
Why did somebody tell me there was a rock there? And how come, they have a negative attitude. Yeah. And the pessimism just is destroying of it can even destroy a character.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Well, listen, we're going to wrap up because we've reached a limit. And I always go to, there's a couple of questions. There's a book called Tools of Titans. And I don't like to give these questions beforehand because I want it kind of just off the cuff. And Tim Ferriss wrote this book, and these are really, really good questions. And the one question is, and I've asked this to almost everybody that we've done the show with, is think of a purchase that you've made under $100 that has, in the last 6 months, that has been like a life change. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've lived without this. And make it PG, please.
Believe it or not, I would imagine.
And it could be a little over 100 if it needed to be.
Well, no, it's going to be under 100, and it is a wireless headphones.
Okay.
For my telephone.
Ah, okay.
It's something that very simple.
Yeah.
When I run, I've been running with headphones. And there have been an iteration of headphones, as you know, from the 1990s when you had your Walkman and my cassette player.
Oh yeah,
right?
Oh yeah.
It went from a cassette player and so forth. But now, of course, I love to run with music, and my phone, and probably getting rid of the wire when I had the wired headphones, which I didn't really mind it, except for every once in a while my hands would get stuck in
You rip it out.
and rip it out, or pull it out of my pocket, or drop it on the floor. And
Right.
these wireless headphones, my first pair I found,
Yeah.
and they were the Beats. They
Oh,
were
yeah.
of brand. $150 pair.
Yep.
I didn't know they were $150 till I looked them up, and
Yep.
I wanted to replace them because it wasn't working.
Right.
And I said, $150. So I went to the most famous and best website ever
Yeah.
invented,
Of
Amazon.
course. Yeah. Of course.
And they not
Shout
only-
out. Yeah.
They had probably 100,
Yep.
and I found this pair for $18.99.
Oh, my
that looked
goodness.
just like the Beats,
Oh,
but
my
they were
goodness.
a red in color.
Yeah.
And I believe they probably come out of the same factory.
Probably. Yep.
Because they work just like the Beats.
Yeah.
They're just as good. And every time I put them in, I say to myself, America
Yeah.
is a great place.
Yeah. Stinking Amazon is a great place, right?
For $18.99, I run wire free. The
Yeah.
only thing is, every once in a while I'll forget to charge them, and then I start cursing.
Yeah, then
Amazon.
you're upset.
I'm upset.
Then you're upset. Yeah.
Not upset to the point to where I'll throw them away though, because
Yeah.
I know I'll need them tomorrow.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, last question, and then this one you've got 30 seconds. I want to know, in the last 5 years, what new habit or new lifestyle change have you picked up?
CrossFit.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Yeah, tell me about that, Daddy.
CrossFit is the most amazing thing that I've done lately. And the reason I like it is because every workout, I feel like I give it all. I talked about being competitive.
Yeah.
And I may not necessarily be competing against everyone in there, because some of the people in there, obviously, they've been doing it for a long
Right.
time, or they're half my age, and they're going to lift a lot more weight. But I compete against myself. So,
Yeah.
for example, yesterday, we were doing squat cleans, and in the past, I would do 85 pounds, 95 pounds, and I'd be struggling with. I had 95 pounds on the bar, and I said to myself, you know what? It's time to challenge yourself. So I put 115 pounds on there.
Oh my gosh.
And I did the total number, 15 of those babies.
Yeah.
And I rode 21 calories on the bike. This is after having done 15, 20-something cleans. But I feel like I leave it all out there.
Yeah.
And it's a full body workout every time I go. So I have to say, don't be afraid to give it a try. CrossFit. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. Because how old are you, Daddy?
I am 63 years young.
Yeah, that's right. 63 years young, and he is still killing CrossFit and running. I mean, we just ran last year. We just ran two marathons, half marathons together.
Marathons, and this year, God willing, we'll be running 2 or 3 more.
That's right. We'll be in Chicago doing the half marathon Chicago in less than a month.
That's right, in June.
In July. Yeah, and in Vegas.
I think the biggest thing that I'm taking out of this is, quality of life is more important than quantity.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm trying to do the most that I can with whatever time I have left.
That's right.
I don't want to just sit around and watch time pass. I want to take part in everything.
That's right.
That I can.
That's what you got to do. Well, Daddy, listen, I want to thank you for being on TM3 Impact. Special guest. It's an honor to sit with you here, and I want to say thank you, because all of this is what we've been able to do with Luxury Realm Magazine, what Christine and I have been able to put together. We just want to say thank you, because you know what, going to school, I needed to come home to San Antonio to finish that degree, and I got to come here and live with you, and big influence on my life, my entire life, and so thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I hope it's not the last time.
No.
And I have to say, this is one of the proudest moments of my life today.
Yeah.
Just sitting across from you and speaking.
That's right. Love you, Daddy.
Love you more.
All righty. Stay tuned. Please be sure to subscribe to our TM3 Impact. You're going to find this on YouTube. You're going to find this on our website, TM3Impact.com. Looking forward to speaking with you. If you want to learn more about the show, just email us, give us a call. We'd love to have you on the show. Take care.